Previously, we said tithe is a fraud and is not compulsory. Now, I want to explain to you. In the Old Testament, first and foremost, tithe was obtainable, quite alright. Previously, we also said superior master was entitled of tithes. Now, first and foremost, you ask, what is the purpose of tithes? There is a reason why God asked Malachi to collect 1/10. And what was that reason? God so much loved the poor and the less privileged. And God as well loved his priests and the Levites. And there was what you call Babylonian captive. We all know Jerusalem was destroyed at that time. And at a point, God reconciled the children of Israel. They rebuilt Jerusalem. They reconciled their faith. Prophet Malachi was the priest on board. God now said, since there is a spiritual and a physical bankrupt, what will happen? Collect 1/10, 10% of what they have, so that there will be food in my house, to enable the priests to take care of themselves, to enable the less privileged take care of themselves. First and foremost, the person that started the tithes was Abraham. He paid to Melchizedek. Melchizedek was a superior master. The Bible said in the book of Hebrews 7, if you read from verse 1, that Melchizedek does not have any descendants, does not have father, neither mother or relative. That is why he was entitled of tithe. Abraham paid tithe to him. And Abraham too became a priesthood, a Levitical priesthood, and the Levite paid tithe to him. That is why we said previously that tithe was surely meant for the priesthood. Then, when God asked Malachi to collect 1/10 so that there will be food in the house, it was as a result of the famine or the hunger in the land of Israel as a result of Babylonian captivity or as a result of captivity. Then, coming to our dispensation of Christ. When Christ became our superior master, if you read the book of Hebrews, what Paul told the Hebrew church, that all this analysis in the book of Malachi, in the Old Testament dispensation, it is not applicable because we now have a new priesthood. In the Hebrew, book of Hebrews chapter 7, Paul said, Abraham, collect tithes. This other person, collect tithes, which is Melchizedek, collected tithes. Now, what happened in our dispensation? Who is our superior master? Who is the priesthood today? Christ is our priesthood, and he is not ready to collect 1/10. He said he's not ready to collect 1/10 because he is the new priesthood. That is why if you read the book of Hebrews, the same Hebrew chapter 8 verse 7, Paul to the Hebrew church said, if the old law was not faultless, there wouldn't have any need for the second. That is, if the old law, the first law, the first covenant was comfortable, there wouldn't have any need for the second. That is why he now said the Old Testament law, it is not longer obtainable, where tithe was obtainable. Now look at the principles of our Master Jesus, our new priesthood, the advocate, who is worthy of tithe or 1/10. He said, who is not ready now to collect the 1/10. He now adopted a new method, not the method of taking care of the poor like that of Malachi. God said he esteemed so high the less privileged. If you did not bring that 1/10 to my house, you have robbed me, because the less privileged, God so much regard them, God so much esteemed them high, and his priest. Christ did not use that method. He now used another method. The method is that instead of bringing generally or generously to the house of God. He said in the book of Matthew 25, verse 35, he said, I was hungry, you did not clothe me. I was naked, you did not visit me. I was in the hospital, you did not. And I was in prison, you did not come. The disciple asked him, when were you? In the prison, in the hospital, naked, and we do not attend to you. He said, if you do it within those among you, the less privileged among you, you have done it to me. He did not adopt the method of Malachi, bringing 1/10 to the house. Christ adopted another new method. He said, you take care of the individual personally. When you do it, you have done that to me. Then, when you see it, also read in the book of Luke, where Christ supervised a treasury. That is in the book of Mark, chapter 12. Read from verse 40 to 41. The widow brought all she had, totality of what she had, to the house of God. Some were bringing out of their millions. They bring a little, a fraction, a percentage. Christ did not honor them. Some who were having 100 million, they brought 10 million. Christ did not honor them. Some were having 10 million, they brought 1 million. Christ did not honor them. If it were today, they would have been the people to be esteemed high. They would have been regarded to be given, to be the people that gave the highest. But Christ said, the widow who gave willingly and cheerfully is one who gave the highest. What is he trying to tell us? That 1/10 is not compulsory. That 10% is not regarded any longer. And not only that, he adopted another method. He said, give, it shall be given unto you. Good measure shaken together. That is in the book of Luke, chapter 6, verse 38, shall be given unto you. That is another method he adopted, not percentage. If you give willingly, you will receive willingly. If you give bountifully, you will also receive bountifully. 10%, it is negligible. When you give 10%, you will receive 10% blessing. You give 100%, you give 100%, you receive 100% blessing. The widow receive 100% blessing because he did not give fraction. But the rich gave out of their million fraction, and they also receive a percentage reward. And not only that, we will also see in the New Testament, in the book of Matthew 23, verse 23, Christ calls the Pharisee, those religious leaders. He said, woe unto you, you scribes and Pharisees, for you give tithe of cumis and onions, forgetting about the weightier matters, righteousness and holiness. They couldn't. They were talking about percent. Christ said, since you have omitted some, punishment and judgment is awaiting you. And not only that, there are people who superseded or who succeeded Christ. That is Paul. If you read in the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 16, verse 2, where Paul adopted a method of offering, not tithe, where he said there was a need in Jerusalem church, and this offering was not often when they gather. It was based on when the church have a need. Now, tithe is not applicable in the New Testament. Paul did not follow that method. Paul followed the dispensation of Christ. That method he adopted, Paul now said, when the church was having a need, he now asked the church in Ephesus and church in Judea to bring 1/10. In verse 2, he said, lay in stock upon the face of the weak. As the Lord has prospered you, lay it in stock in the house of God. For I will come, as I am passing through Macedonia, I will come and take it to the church in Jerusalem. If need be, somebody should go with me. That is transparency. If need be, somebody will go with me. Paul adopted the method of Christ. Paul did not follow the Malachaic law of 10%. Today, why are people following Malachi, following Mosaic law? Christ did not make it compulsory. You can give more than 1/10 because 1/10 is no longer obtainable. And not only that, the only person that have the right to collect 10th is a superior master. Are you telling me today that you are a superior master that is worthy of tithe? Paul did not collect 10% because he wasn't a superior master. He neglected it. He adopted the method of offering. That is why we said tithe is a fraud. If you go beyond pressurizing people, somebody said, if you don't pay tithes, you will not make heaven. Is it what the superior master Jesus told us? We are mutilating the gospel. Since you cannot abide only in the New Testament, you said you're a New Testament believer, you believe in Master Jesus, and you are still adopting the method. Now, if you're adopting the Old Testament law, why not adopt the method of turtle dove, sacrifice of turtle dove, sacrifice of divorcing your wife, sacrifice of marrying more than 2? Since you want to obey the Old Testament law, why not obey all? Because in the Old Testament, there is what we call sacrifice of turtle dove, sacrifice of animal, and others. Is it only tithes that is in the Old Testament law that will only pick the tithes? That is why Christ said these tithes will bring a problem, will raise dust. He foreseen. Based on that fact, he did not encourage tithe. We shall explain further in our live video.